The time for empty talk is over.
It's going to be great.
Yo guys, welcome back to episode 9 of the Pint&Politics podcast. Today we have our first female guest in Ali. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ali from Birmingham, as you can probably tell. I hope the accent doesn't put anyone off. I feel I've got a lot of pressure to represent. Yeah. Anything else about me?
I don't know. Alright, generic political views, just so people know.
Well, I would vote Labour in the UK, but I'm more of a Bernie Sanders supporter, so more of like Democrat, or maybe further left than Democrat. Yeah, so I'm pretty left. But yeah, I would vote Labour, and I did like Corbyn.
Okay.
Controversial. Yeah, exciting.
So just so you guys know, for the very few followers that actually follow the podcast, we've already done a podcast over on Ali's channel on Political Princess. We've already had a drink, leave me alone. But we'll link down to that in the description anyway.
You're a proper YouTuber.
Yeah, no, I'm getting used to it.
Link in the description.
I haven't done this in months. But yeah, and Luke will be on the next podcast anyway. He's down in Scunthorpe, he's having a drink at Wetherspoons. So
yeah,
he will be back on the next one, don't worry about him. So, the topics that we haven't already done on your channel, one of the main ones, Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
So, let's start off your views on Black Lives Matter.
So,
Kind of stuff.
I think it was a very important movement, and I think it was really needed. I think because of Corona, everyone had a lot of free time, and that's why I think there was a lot of traction around it, because there was something to get angry about.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be talked about. I think I understand why people are angry, I understand why people are upset about it. I think the protest needed to happen, and I do think that in America especially, but we aren't innocent here, but in America especially it is really bad. What do you think?
I think there needs to be police structural reform,
Yes.
but I don't think the police are necessarily institutionally racist. There are examples of racism, but I don't think they're institutionally racist.
So I would say they are, because I think the thing is though, the statistics, these things are very like, there's some statistics that will show that they are institutionally racist and some statistics that show they aren't, but I think on a whole the police brutality against black people is a lot worse. Like, black areas are more likely to be policed and things such as.
But is that not because of high crime?
But it's kind of like one of those where you can say, is that because of high crime? But then also, is there high crime rates in those areas because they're policed more? So if there's more policing, you're going to pick up more people doing crimes, realistically.
Yeah, well, smashing up a Walmart and nicking a 16-inch TV.
Yeah, is a crime.
Yeah, that to me is not, like, so gang violence.
But as well though, with the judicial system in America, that you're so much more likely to be found guilty and put in prison and stuff if you're black, which therefore goes towards high crime rates in those areas. Because like Brock Turner was in you know Brock Turner.
No.
Oh, do you not? No. So he was a guy who went to university and he was like a swimmer or something, and he basically raped and like mutilated a girl behind a dumpster.
Right. I think I've heard something about it. Yeah,
I think she might not be able to have kids now, because he didn't just like rape her, like he put like sticks and stuff. Yeah, very horrific and like not to get graphic or anything. Yeah, which is obviously shocking. But he got, I think he was sentenced to 18 months or something ridiculously like. And then he ended up serving 3 months in prison, which how is that allowed?
Yeah.
He scarred someone for life, and a lot of people are saying like, but he's, he goes to university, he's a really good swimmer, so it's gonna like be bad for his career.
Yeah.
But then people are saying like, there are people in prison in America. I know it's different with each states and whatnot, but there are people in prison in America for like weed and like non-violent crimes for years, and then someone like him. 3 months. I feel like that just really explains like.
Yeah, I think it's not institutional because it's not written down.
Yeah.
I think it's more down to there are probably corrupt judges, but it's how do you fix that? Like the small drug crimes, to me, again, victimless crimes should be pardoned. Do
you think though, like society will have to change first before because society changes? Then, surely the judges will change and, they won't be as corrupt.
It depends in what way it would have to change, though. I don't agree that it should change in the way the organisation of Black Lives Matter push.
So you don't think?
I don't think their Marxist view on the world will help those. So like it even says on Black Lives Matter's own website they want to dismantle the patriarchal structure of the two-parent household, the nuclear family. I think that's been more detrimental to the black community, the single fatherhood rates, than anything else.
But so do you agree with like you don't agree with the defunding of the police?
No.
I agree with the like reallocation of money and the changing of the police system, especially in America. Like it's hard though because I don't want to say like especially in America and then leave out of the UK because we aren't innocent. A lot happens here too, but I think we need to like maybe focus on society change and stuff like that because like realistically like George Floyd's like killers only got arrested because of people like kicking a fuss.
Yeah, I think again with things like that though, that's up to the attorney generals in those states. Minneapolis, the mayor's a Democrat.
Yes.
Senator's a Democrat.
Yes.
The attorney general's a Democrat. That is a highly blue Democratic state.
Yeah.
So to me, the Democrats, and if you look at many of these cities, Chicago, Baltimore, Ferguson, New York, LA, Democrat.
Yeah.
They're all Democrat run. So it's like, I don't think the Democrats are the answer to the problem, especially.
No, but I think it's hard though because changing the system, the police system, like.
So what changes exactly would you like to see?
So I think the reallocation of money would be helpful. I think like I was supposed to think about it and it was more about like we said instead of like dealing with it afterwards, maybe like putting more money into like the prevention of like crimes and such.
You mean like social workers?
Yes, but maybe just social workers. There was like a lot of like reallocation to like I can't think now what they were, but just I think like prevention was the whole gist of it. Is like if you can prevent it from happening, then it's. But
yeah, to me, I don't think the next murderer or the next child molester or the next rapist. I don't think a stern word from a social worker. He's going to stop them or deter them from doing it again.
Yes, I feel like I'm not doing justice because I feel like they said the reallocation of money. There was like a big thing, and it was very well written and seemed very smart. So I'm not doing justice. But I'm trying to think now where they said they reallocate the money. Do you know? But I think one of them was like into schools and stuff. Like,
well, I don't think it's necessarily schools funding. So if you look at places like Washington DC, DC has the highest rate of money per student per capita, and yet the kids are way further behind than other kids. I think it's to me it's with education, especially qualities of teaching, and I blame teachers' unions. So
teachers are paid like shocking amounts in America though. Like shockingly little.
But even then, so if you want to link a teacher's performance to how much they're paid, unions have opposed that for years. So if you pay good teachers more and bad teachers less, well then unions have opposed that for years because unions are going to fight for higher pay for everybody who's in their union.
But I think if paying everyone a higher amount means that people with degrees and people who like it becomes more of a competition because everyone wants that job because it pays more.
Yeah.
Like on a general stance.
Yeah.
But instead, I think by paying them very little, people only go into it. I don't know, like maybe underqualified or like not that. I don't know.
I'd base it more on performance, and I'd also do it as if I would encourage those. I would pay teachers who do really well to go into these low-income areas that are struggling.
Difficult though, because how do you rate teachers like?
How many students get grades? How many of their students get
there's more than that. Like there's more because teachers, especially in like refer areas.
Maybe you could look at maybe how far the kids have come in their class from where they were before.
Teachers in refer areas become social workers as well, and they have to deal with other things like.
Oh yeah.
I think
you'd have to come up with a certain metric.
I think some teachers like go really out of the way and become like parents and like.
Oh yeah, schools are valuable things for kids.
True, yeah, but I think education is, but I don't agree with free tuition fees.
No.
But I do agree that I think how it works in England is pretty good. from my experience.
For me, it's I don't think that the person who chose not to go to college and chose not to go to university and chose to go straight into work shouldn't have to pay for someone to do a 4-year course in art. For me, personally.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, I do understand that, and that's what the reason for why tuition fees shouldn't be free, but then I do think it's unfair if, you are
I think you can have voucher schemes and scholarships.
Yes.
I think they should be pushed a lot more.
But I think that, realistically, I think you should, be able to get the chance to go to uni, and that's why it makes sense our system, because most people can afford because of the system, which is how it should be, because the debt's only to the individual person, kind of. But so I think that works, but I don't think Bernie Sanders did say he wanted to scrap tuition fees, which
I mean, what's the student debt in America, about $1 trillion?
It's been something.
Yeah, you can't write off $1 trillion.
But also, I think it's I was gonna say it's a bit of a waste of money, but that's not fair to say that. But I just think in America it's worse though, because obviously you are people generally cannot afford to go to uni and they have no help.
Yeah, I think they should push scholarships more and voucher schemes for those kids. I think they should scrap affirmative action. I think that should be scrapped because that's purely based on race.
Yeah.
And the problem you get with things like affirmative action is Asian kids, because they get usually higher test scores, now have to get even higher test scores. And then the other kids suffer. So the Asian kids who generally do really well, they have to get even higher test scores to get into the universities.
So it just makes it harder, yeah.
So if you look at some studies, certain kids who are in the top 10% in a certain, say, within the United States, because of affirmative action, because of racial quotas, they get put into universities of which they cannot compete. So they may be in the 10%, the top 10% within America, at, say, mathematics, but if they go to MIT, they're in the bottom 10%.
Yeah.
And they drop out.
And therefore they just struggle.
Yeah, so they get put in the mismatch to colleges and universities.
Yes.
So instead of being allowed to choose where they want, to me it should just be colourblind. It shouldn't matter what race you're from. It should be just based on, your grades. But it's like they get put into colleges at which they cannot compete.
Interesting, because I do think that people should be helped get into higher unis, because it's more of an achievement if you came from a poor area to then get to Oxford. It's more of an achievement. I think people should be helped to get there and stuff. But actually, it's a good point. Imagine getting to Oxford and you actually can't compete.
You may be in the top 10%, but if you go to Oxford and you cannot keep up with the level of teaching, you're going to drop out.
Yeah.
Whereas if you went to Sheffield Hallam, or I don't know, or Sheffield Uni, you can compete there and still get a degree.
Yeah.
It's not that these kids are not stupid or more thick, it's just some kids just cannot compete at that level.
Which is, it's actually it seems like a good idea, but actually it's very flawed, isn't it? Because
it's not, to me it's reverse apartheid. You are barring kids based on their race and promoting kids based on their race.
Yeah, I do believe that people need a helping hand and push them up, but it doesn't seem like it actually works.
Well, to me, free markets kind of help against racism in a way if you make things colourblind. So interesting, right? So if you look at apartheid South Africa, pre-1920s, before the government really, really took control. I mean, there was institutional racism, but before it took control of the economy in South Africa, it was basically illegal for certain companies to hire blacks in South Africa.
Okay.
And they had what the businesses used to do. So obviously the business owners are motivated by profit. Yeah? It was cheaper for the business owner to hire a black employee for a white employee. So it turns out what the businesses used to do was they used to hire a lot of black employees. So the unemployment rate went down for blacks in South Africa.
Yeah.
And the government saw this and was like, whoa, we can't have this, because obviously they're racists. So they implemented white quotas. But the businesses tried to get around it for profit motives and actually hired more blacks than whites still. And the government had to crack down on it because of racism. So yeah, the blacks in South Africa, I'm not saying they were doing well, but the unemployment rate pre-1920 South Africa
They weren't getting paid well, but...
They weren't getting paid well, but at least they had a job.
Yeah, better than no job, I guess.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. But again, the businesses were motivated by profit, so, well, actually, it's cheaper for me to hire blacks than it's for whites.
Yeah.
So...
That's interesting. To be fair, I feel like companies in the UK do that with under 18 people. They'd rather hire under 18 people.
Well, it's cheaper.
Yeah, sports direct, everyone was like under 18.
Yeah.
Or worked with. But I feel like, so would you say that if we both went for a place at Oxford, likely, had the same qualifications, and I got picked because I was black, obviously I'm not, but if I was, would you what do you think to that? Do you think that's unfair?
Yeah, I don't know, to me it should be purely based on test scores and I mean obviously there's other things like out of curricular activities maybe.
Yes.
But then again you could say privileged kids would be more likely to be doing those activities.
Yeah.
So to me it should be done on test scores and how well that kid's done over his academic career. You can see if there's been a massive change if one kid's come from literally nothing to a straight A.
Yeah.
It's one kid just kind of being up there and kind of just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So for me, I think this might be a bit controversial.
No,
two people in the exact same positions, same grades. If they were adapted
literally the exact same.
Yes. One was black and one was white. I would probably be more likely to have the black person send them to uni or to accept them into a job or something because although it's unfair to obviously hire someone if they had less qualifications but just because of their skin colour, because that is discrimination, that's prejudice, whatever. But I think if it was equal, I think I would hire the black person because I think representation matters. I think it's probably we need representation of people of colour, black people, women, but also I think it's probably been harder for them to get to the position they are now, not because of they could have gone to the same school as this person, they could be everything equal, but the things their parents have gone through is probably...
But you're barring that kid based on his race though.
Which is discrimination too. Yeah. But I think we do need...
What's the difference between that and apartheid South Africa?
Yeah.
It's just the races are reversed.
I think though, but I think we do need representation. I think I do think Parliament is very white, male, it's uneducated. It's becoming less and less. But I do think that representation is important. But just I think in a school, if it was two people who are exactly the same and it was either hiring a male or a female, I think I'd more likely hire the male because we need male representation in schools. That is picking someone on their gender, that is maybe discrimination.
Yeah.
Maybe it's unfair for me to say, but I do think we do need representation.
Well, would you say though that representation didn't really work in the United States? So if you look under Obama, you have a black president, black attorney general, black chief of staff. You have in many of these Democrat-run areas like Detroit, for instance, which has massive problems with gang violence and all sorts of other stuff, economic problems. You have black mayors, black governors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I don't know whether just having those those faces in high places necessarily.
It's kind of a little bit of
it's kind of
glazing over the actual issues.
Yeah, it's kind of pandering to it.
Yeah, probably, and it's probably not actually going in and find the deep root problems. It's just which is true.
Would you say when Obama got elected? Would you say Obama got elected on his merit, or would you say that's probably white people feeling guilty?
I say his merit.
You say merit?
I think he would. I think he did well for himself. I think he seems professional and smart. And do you think it was?
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was in the United States that we could have the first black president, and a lot of white Americans probably felt guilty.
For me, I didn't feel guilty, and that's why I wanted that. I just thought it'd be so nice to have a black president. It'd be so nice to have a female president or prime minister. To be fair.
Well, the Tories have had two, Labour have had none.
True.
And yet Labour's the party of the progressives. and Keir beat two women on the ballot. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, to be fair, I did like Rebecca Long-Bailey and Lisa Mandy, but we move. Maybe I'll be the next prime minister. It's all gone.
You never know. So anyway, right, back to the police.
Yes.
Because we're way off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you say more funds into education.
Yes.
Is there anything else you put more funds into?
It's really annoying because I can't remember what the points were, and I feel like I'm not doing enough justice. But I don't know. Maybe like I don't know. Did you see what they were saying about reallocating the money?
So for me, it's more of putting it into things like de-escalation tactics, which obviously people always talk about, when someone gets shot. I think police need more funding to help with that training, to help with de-escalation tactics.
Yes.
I think people need, and psychological exams. So I think police officers who go to, incidents of violent crimes, whether shooting someone rightly or wrongly, or going to a car accident, is going to change our mental state.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Derek Chauvin, the man who murdered George Floyd, he had like umpteen complaints against him.
Yeah.
He's mentally there, he's not going to be okay. So to me, if police officers have more funding for regular psychological exams, people will know whether, okay, this person is not mentally there to go out into the streets and to police people.
Do you think that he killed George Floyd because he was like so desensitised to violence that he wasn't like didn't see him as human, or didn't see it as like violent because he was so used to it?
Possibly. I mean, if you look at to me, you have to have something wrong in your head to kneel on someone's neck for 8 minutes while he's screaming that he can't breathe.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not saying it wasn't racism. I mean, I don't know yet.
I mean, to be fair, though, they did find things that it was part of the KKK.
Oh, I haven't seen that. To be fair, I'll admit I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
But just from the video itself, to me, it was just an arsehole of a police officer. But I mean,
power hungry, I guess.
Yeah, if it is racism, then fair, yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not defending what Derek Chauvin did. What he did was horrible and inexcusable. But I think he's probably just not mentally stable there. So there's a study done in the 90s saying that I think it was either between 30 or 50% of police have domestic violence issues against their spouses. Something, but that was back in the early 90s.
That's a high number.
Yeah, so that's back in the early 90s. I don't think there's been recent studies on it. The last study I saw was in the early 90s. But to me, it's a psychological issue. If you're going out every day knowing that you might not come home, because like to your family and your kids, and you go to incidents where people have died or someone has shot at you or you have shot somebody, to me
you're
that's
so desensitised to violence, like you don't, which is horrible. But it's a very good point.
I think, to be honest, I think police officers need help. I don't think stripping
And
them...
do you think that's why like saying all cops are bad is actually like, because it's dehumanising
It's not making anything better, because what you're getting at is, and you can find videos on Twitter, you have white women screaming at black officers, calling them racist. And part of the problem. It's like, look, that's not the point. To me, it's like, these are not all bad people. There are bad eggs.
Yes.
I think that's due to bad hiring practices.
Maybe that's a negative to calling like all cops are bad and things like that.
So like things like Colin Kaepernick wearing police officers' pigs on his socks. I think things like that and dehumanising police officers. I'm not defending police's excessive use of violence, but if you stand in front of a police officer who wasn't even in Minneapolis, who has nothing to do with that, who's never had a racist incident against him or any incident, and you're shouting at him, calling him a racist, a bigot, and having him under the sun. Sometimes I'm not surprised when police officers react. I don't condone it, but when police officers react, it's like, well, I've not done anything.
I guess like it's not going to be helpful just to go against them because they're not going to listen, are they? And like not, as you said, it's a bit difficult because I do agree that like the American police system is broken and incorrect. But all cops are bad. May just shine a negative light on them and not actually like be progressive. It may actually be like the opposite of that.
To me, there's no difference between if a white cop pulls a black guy over. There's no difference between the white cop saying, or just thinking inherently, well, he's black, so he must have done something wrong. Then the black guy in the car going, was a cop, so he wants to kill me.
I think though, the only thing with that is that the cop does have more power.
Yeah, he does have more power, but...
I understand that there's probably going to be fear on both sides. But the videos are horrific of like people being scared of the police. It's so sad. Like George Floyd, that was bad. So the cop who killed him
Mm.
knew him. They knew each other because they're both
Yeah.
security guards at the same club.
Mm.
So that's why people were saying maybe it was like not planned, but whatever.
Yeah.
Then they found KKK application in his house, which
shit.
suggests
That he might be a racist.
that he's a
That he's
racist.
most likely a racist. Yeah.
He probably is a racist.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, he probably is a
Say
racist.
how
If
it
that's
is.
true, yeah.
So which suggests that he killed George Floyd because of his race, of his race. But I cannot fathom someone killing someone because of their race. I can't imagine having that much hatred towards a race.
Again, I think it's a psychological disorder. I think something, maybe a culmination of things.
Do you think police encounter so much violence? In America, I know it's different because everyone has guns. But do you think they encounter so much violence because they bring the violence as well? They bring violence on both sides. Like violence beating violence. I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't think violence helps either side. I mean, that there are incidences of cops inciting things, but then again, it's the same on the other side. I think both sides are guilty equally of it. Cops are 18 times more likely to be shot by a black person than to shoot a black person.
Yeah.
So I think that there is instances on both sides, and I think that both the members of the public need to learn how to deal with police in a respectful manner, and that police officers need to learn how to deal with members of the public in a respectful manner. I think it's like kind of mutual respect thing.
Yeah, and I feel like it's difficult though because how do you have mutual respect when you both got a gun in your hand? Like, I think in England, like a lot of the times, knife crimes, you can taser people, and it's not as.
Yeah.
It's like when someone's holding a gun. I think if someone holds a gun at me, I'd probably want to hold a gun back. I don't think I'd want to have a taser.
But again, is that not part of mutual respect? I've got a weapon, you've got a weapon. Let's keep this.
Yeah, but then how do you change that? Like.
To me, it's part of the citizen's responsibility to tell the officer they have a weapon, because it's known that officers carry weapons. Not every American citizen carries a weapon. If they explain if the officers, sorry officer, why have I been pulled over? They explain, okay, I have a gun in my boot, or I have a gun on my hip.
Yes.
And my identification is in my left pocket. Do you know what I mean?
I do think you see a lot of videos and it's not as easy as that. And I always think about, who they did that experiment where they took, I can't remember what it's called, you've probably heard about it, but they took 10
normal people.
And they made some of them
They made some of them guards and some of them. Yeah,
exactly. And they went a bit crazy. And then but I feel like that's a little bit like police. I'm not saying all police, but police have that power and give it power. Because there's so many videos, white people as well, but a lot of black people where they're someone's they just for no reason get really angry. But then again, is that to do with the system being privatised and that sometimes they have a quota of how many people they need to bring in and the system being a business, the police,
I don't know whether it's privatised, is it?
Actually, it's not privatised, it's like a business. Because the prisons in America are businesses, pretty much.
You do get federal prisons and state prisons.
Yes.
But I don't know, I think, to me in America, first thing you need to do is get rid of qualified immunity, which allows police, stations, whatever, police departments not to be fined in civil cases if an officer does wrong against someone. Because to me that means if they're going to get fined every 5 minutes for an officer being a retard, well then they're going to want to hire better officers who aren't going to get them fined every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So to me that's the first thing you get rid of. And then, I don't know, more funding for training and psychological exams.
Yeah, I've never thought about psychological exams, but that would make a lot of sense.
They do it in the military for people who have gone through post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of stress associated with dealing with the things they deal with.
Also, you go to road traffic collisions and you see some young person who's died. You know what I mean? That's going to have a mental effect. To me, there's no difference between being shot at out in Afghanistan and being shot at in your hometown. Or seeing someone who's been the victim of an IED attack out in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Or seeing someone who's died at a road traffic collision.
Yeah, and you have to run towards the violence. You have to run towards it as a police officer. Yeah, I think that is it.
I think their job is very stressful, and it doesn't necessarily excuse the behaviour of some of those officers.
No.
But to me, it's kind of, explains some of the behaviour of those officers.
Yeah. No.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't make it right, but
I think it's a good way of like preventing further things.
Mm.
And it's not like, it's a good way because actually it's looking at the police. Because a lot of people who don't believe in Black Lives Matter say just don't even see a problem with the police or think it needs to change.
yeah.
When at least that is seeing a problem with the police and being like.
That's it. There are problems within the police. I mean, one of them, the things that stop changes is police unions. But to me, I mean, there are problems on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
To me.
Yeah, but I think as well though it'd be good for both sides, the police and the people the police are handling.
Yeah, it's sad that it has to come from someone like George Floyd dying.
Yes.
That this conversation has to start, but
100%, and it's sad that like other cases only got looked at because of
yeah.
But another one, the Central Park 5. Have you watched the Netflix show about the Central Park 5? The Central. Do you know what they are?
No.
So a group, basically, a woman got raped in Central Park, but she couldn't remember anything.
Yeah.
And then basically I think the police just went out onto the street, picked up 5 lads. I think most of them were black lads. And I think 2 of them were Latin American actually. But they're Central Park 5.
Yeah.
And then they didn't really have. Basically, they kind of like manipulated them into all confessing, and then they all ended up spending a lot of years in prison. And then court case happened like 30 years after or something. They ended up getting released. No, they ended up getting lots of compensation back and stuff. Donald Trump, when they got found out they were innocent, said he still believed they should be in prison. Not brilliant.
Yeah, like I said, he says a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, I hope he just is stupid and doesn't mean that because.
Like I said, he says a lot of crap.
Yeah.
He says a lot of crap.
But so they were just incarcerated because of they were out and they fit.
Yeah. Well, those instances are wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's no defence stuff like that.
But it was mad how like the system did them so wrong. They spent so long in prison that like a lot of them came out of prison. I think.
And they're like institutionalised.
Yeah, and so I think they were in prison for a while. I think like a lot of them served like
full sentences
and served that and then got their like compensation afterwards. It's really good. It's called. I can't remember the name, but it's really good. But afterwards, like a lot of them struggled coming out of it, and like, and it's mad the impact they had. But
there's a lot of examples of people being wrongly institutionalised.
Which is why I don't believe in the death penalty.
No, I think unless it can be proven beyond any reasonable doubt, like at all.
But what right do you have to take away someone's life?
Yeah, doesn't you murder someone else, it just means there's one less murderer, but you're not a murderer. So.
No, but like if you murder someone and then
what gives you the right to take that life away?
Yeah, I mean I don't agree with murderers. I don't think they should be murdered because like it doesn't really make sense. You murder someone, someone murder you.
Yeah, it depends what you do with those people. And I know you can obviously put them in prison, but then you basically.
But prisons in America are pretty much torture, aren't they?
But I mean, you are. It's difficult because the argument would be that taxpayers are basically just funding them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I understand that is annoying because it's like you're paying for someone to.
To me, I would rather. I guess the argument against it though would be you are paying to keep those people off the streets and not in your home murdering you.
And it's kind of sad though because I was going to say it's sad, but they are murderers, so they should be in prison. Yeah. But like they're going to live their whole life to die in prison.
I think there are
some. Which is for the best.
Yeah, there are some people that are beyond help, in my opinion. There are some people that are so psychologically damaged that they should never be released.
Rehabilitation isn't for everything, is it really?
It doesn't work for anybody. I think it can work for small time crimes. But I don't think when you're talking about mass murderers or serial murderers or like terrorists, as an example, I don't think.
No, 100%. But I was had a really good point. I just forgot it. That's so annoying. Oh, weed like crimes of that. I can't believe, like places that have now legalised it. I think people that are in prison for all that should be out of prison. I think I can't believe they're still in prison. I think that's shocking.
Part of that is probably most of that is Bill Clinton's crime bill in the 90s. He took thousands of black fathers out of the home in his war on drugs. The largest incarceration of black men in US history happened under Bill Clinton.
Really? That is very bad.
If you look at it, Joe Biden's on it, by the way. It's called the war on drugs or the war on crime.
Yeah.
During the 90s, he basically took thousands and thousands of black fathers out of the home for small time crimes and locked them in prison.
Oh my gosh.
So,
that's so terrible. It's such a devastating thing to do. It has such an impact on communities and families and everything.
all those father figures that were then ripped from their kids' arms and then stuck in a prison.
Yeah,
that's going
to non-violent crimes.
Yeah, that's going to have an effect on that society.
Insanely, and that has impacted generations and generations.
And it will be generational. It will be going on for decades. But
which is scary because that just shows the impact of one person. Bill Clinton just I know it went through more than that, but that is so horrible, man. So it's so shocking though, what people get away with. I didn't know that. People will barely know that. And he did that.
But yeah, that's again. He did many other things. Bill Clinton's war on crime, his war on drugs.
The war on drugs never really works, does it?
It never has worked.
No.
To be honest, people still use drugs.
Yeah.
People in prison for it. He doesn't deter people. To be honest, he doesn't force him to deter people.
And I don't think it ever will.
No.
Because people are always going to do drugs, aren't they?
I think we're thrill-seeking animals. I think they always like to find a high or something like that.
Yeah. Interesting though, I knew a lad I went to high school with who said he wouldn't smoke weed anymore if it became legal. So I just do it and I was like, that's a bit weird, but maybe less people would try it if it was legal. I mean, Portugal figures don't show that, but...
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but to me I'd rather just people let me legitimate businesses out of it.
Yeah, they've done Amsterdam, haven't they?
Yeah, do you know how much money would that bring to the economy if people can create, not just shops selling it, but places where people can smoke and go to cafes, where they can eat stuff.
I mean, Amsterdam is literally their entire tourism. It does make sense. But I spoke to an American boy, I think he lives in Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
But they haven't legalised weed in Oregon. But he said they never will because the alcohol companies subsidise the politicians there. So of course, it's why would they legalise weed when it's going to affect the alcohol consumption? I think
it should be legalised, but at the same time it should be regulated like alcohol is. You can't drive under the influence of alcohol.
Yes.
You shouldn't drive under the influence of weed, or you shouldn't go to work.
That's the thing, if it's legalised, it can be regulated and it can be imported safely and environmentally friendly, and so I don't know, do you think it'll happen in the UK?
Possibly.
Do you think?
Yeah, I don't see many Conservatives really being against it.
I don't think the older generation's ready for that.
No, I think there's still very much a war against drugs.
I think my parents wouldn't agree with it.
I think mine wouldn't either.
I don't think I'd care.
I think my parents wouldn't be fond of it, but again, they're from the older generation.
Yeah, no.
They grew up through the 60s.
Yeah.
And into the 70s.
Do you think, is it more of a normal thing? Do you think in this generation people smoking weed?
Yeah, I think if you could just go around uni and ask how many people have you smoked weed, I'd probably say 8 out of 10 people. I'd probably say, I've tried it or I've done it.
Which is, when I think in the older generation, wouldn't be the same.
I think probably when we grow up, probably next 10, 15 years.
But we have more disposable income as young people. I don't think they had as much.
I think then it was more if they didn't really know anything about it. So I don't, and it's maybe that older Conservative generation that's completely against it.
Yes.
So I don't know. And there's lots of conspiracy theories about it, about why or whatever. But
I think it'd be interesting for it to happen in the UK. I just don't feel like we're extreme enough for that to happen.
Maybe in the next 10 to 15 years, probably when we're older.
Yeah.
And we're the majority of the voting population.
Yeah.
Possibly then.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I'd be fussed about either way.
I'm not bothered. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to.
And I don't think, weed-related crimes are very low, and people don't overdose on it, so it seems pretty safe.
To me, it would stop. Well, I won't say it would stop, but it'd probably decline a lot of gang violence, to be honest. if you leave on and stuff like that, because people wouldn't be warring over it then. I would rather them war each other in business terms. Than,
Yeah,
you know,
no, 100%.
business competition
Yeah.
and stab each other in the streets.
Yeah.
You know.
Puts it like, yeah, it makes it more of a professional thing. Which
To me, I don't see why it isn't legalised, because to me, it unites the left and the right. The left just want, so like the left hand side are more likely to, we will want to smoke it, want to do it. It's
Yes.
just a plan. And the right want to do it for economic terms. Create businesses,
Yeah.
capitalism.
Yeah.
I don't see why it's not a cross-party thing.
I love that. Your explanation of the left is they want to do it.
Yeah, doesn't
The
left
left
want
want
to
to
do
smoke weed.
it. We want to make money off of it, To it unites it all, but
Weed just brings everyone together.
yeah, it does. Yeah. So what do you actually think of like the organisation Black Lives Matter?
So like, I did a bit of research on it, and I thought it seems like it hasn't been around for that long, the movement itself.
2014, 2015?
Yeah, I think it's around then. So it's not been around too long. I think they believe in civil disobedience, a bit like Extinction Rebellion, which is a bit of a difficult one. It's a bit like, because civil disobedience, they haven't. All the protests have been peaceful, but civil disobedience, like, I don't know.
The majority of protests are peaceful, but some turn into riots and looting.
Which isn't great.
No.
But I did see something, and it was like, speak the language you're spoken to in, like, speak the language they understand.
Yeah. To me, though, where does a riot get you? So if you look at Baltimore and Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
Because this has happened before. So under the Obama administration, I think it was 2014, 2015, the Baltimore riots. The thing, hand up, don't shoot. That was a lie, by the way. A court proved by DNA evidence he tried to grab his gun. He tried to grab the officer's gun.
Oh.
Yeah, hand up, don't shoot was a lie.
Oh.
So a jury acquitted the officers. Turns out there was DNA evidence he tried to grab his gun. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway,
Didn't know that.
so Ferguson and Baltimore were basically burnt to the ground by rioters.
Yes.
Right? Turns out those areas are kind of crap holes now because they burnt down all the businesses, so that's an economic impact. And the police officers were told not to go into these areas, and if you have to, in very limited capacity, these areas are now run by violent gangs because there's very little policing. So like now, New York's cut its police budget by $1 billion. I think something like that. I think New York State's policing budget is the largest in the US. It's $6 billion.
Gee.
Something like that. They've cut it by about $1 billion, I think. And shootings are up, murders are up, just violent crime in itself is up. So to me,
people believe in community-run police. My mum disagrees with this.
I think police officers and police departments need to be held accountable, but I think under-policing is a problem. If you don't police areas whatsoever.
It's hard though, because where's the line between under and over policing? Like, we don't want to be a Big Brother state.
No, I don't want a Big Brother state, no.
We really don't want to be a Big Brother state.
That's an
which
interesting
we are.
question. Where does that line? Where
are
does that line draw?
I'm not trying to be one of those, but we are beginning to be a bit of a Big Brother state.
In my opinion, right, I don't think in this country we have a right-wing party, right? Or the same in America that they don't have a left-wing party. So like the Democrats and Republicans, the Democrats are probably more like the Conservatives here.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like in this country we have a right-wing party, so like, or like a small government type part like they have in America, because the Tories support the welfare state.
Yeah.
They still have the welfare state. They support the NHS. The NHS whether
they couldn't not support it, they wouldn't get any.
Well, this is what I mean, but it's like whether it's they like it or not. The NHS is a left-wing idea. It's a socialist idea.
Mm-hmm.
We have vast government spending programs. That's not a right-wing idea.
Interesting. I remember I read in Owen Jones' book The Establishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, and I spoke to the leader of the Green Party, and he said that a lot of the ideas of the Green Party is actually to move the level of moderate to either left or the right.
Yeah.
So Maggie Thatcher, one of her speeches at a conservative party, she said they know that they've succeeded because of Tony Blair, because she obviously thought they brought them to right. So I guess in England you're saying that our politics is actually on the left scale.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's like the right and the left of the left scale.
Yeah. To me, I feel like post Second World War, especially if you look at things like the consensus,
Yeah.
the expansion of the welfare state, which to me gets bigger. The NHS, vast government spending programmes. So Boris has £250 billion now,
Yes.
which we cannot afford. We are borrowing the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, to me, a right-wing idea.
That's very interesting actually, because I've never thought of that, but that actually really makes a lot of sense. But I do believe that the right wing is trying to like slowly like privatise and slowly like slowly bring in their ideas, more right wing.
I think.
Do you not think UKIP's a?
I think they're an insignificant nothing party.
Yeah.
Since Brexit, I think they're worth nothing. And I think Thatcher was probably the last right-wing leader of the Tory.
She was definitely right wing.
Well, it's interesting because state spending actually went up.
Yes.
Problem to me, the Thatcher in Mason, she didn't go far enough. So even though she privatised stuff, right, she didn't decrease funding of the welfare state. So state spending goes up. Because when you do such a radical change to an economy, either way, there are going to be people who are employed, people who lose their jobs. But if you keep the state spending the same on the welfare state, then the state spending's going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also she was friends with a Chilean dictator, but
minor.
Yeah, just minor bits.
Yeah,
but
I'm not the biggest fan of Maggie Thatcher. I mean, to be fair, she was a female prime minister, which representation. She was.
What is it you disagree then with her?
Well, I don't think the closing of the mine was.
Well, did you not hear what Martin said? More mines were closed under Labour leadership than Tories. The accelerated pit closure programme.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Martin said that, and he's an ex-communist, by the way.
He loves Labour, but.
And was it not inevitable that mines were closing before?
But the way they did it in Germany, they did the last mine closed I swear 2-3 years ago in Germany, because they did it so slowly though. I think it's a shame that we don't have any industries in the UK. I mean, it worked. No, it worked, but I think we went through a struggle because of what she did. I think a lot of working class people went through a struggle because of her. I
blame the unions. I blame the unions for hanging on too long. It was their fault for them asking for pay rises. They asked for too many pay rises, and because the only reason the miners gained power is because of the Yom Kippur War.
Yes.
Because when the Arabs took control of the oil fields.
But I think the unions are very important. But
is that not the problem you get with the unions in the 70s when you get mass strikes? And then you get power cuts?
I think the unions maybe have got a bit too big for their boots.
Well, no, but they brought down, was it the Callaghan government?
Yeah.
They brought them down?
But I do think they're important to have though, because I think that it gives workers some power. And
I think workers should be allowed to organise, but at the same time, I think it should be a very limited capacity.
I mean, they don't work that much unions anymore, do they?
Well, this is the thing, they have very little power.
I mean, how many ones did we have at uni? I swear we were in for about 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem we get with the union strike. They've got to transfer that full thing on.
It's one of those things though. I would rather. Then again, it's maybe because they don't have a lot of power, so then therefore it doesn't have actually that much of an impact.
I mean, even though unions have been straddled a lot since the Thatcher era, working conditions aren't exactly shit. They're not really, really bad. I think there's a difference between what we have now and Victorian era when you have kids working in cotton factories. I think there's a generic common decency.
And I do agree, but then I also think places so I think probably at our uni they're fine. At our uni some of these strikes were about gender pay gap. There's a big gender pay gap at Sheffield Hallam. Do you remember he said, what's his name? Politics and Society teacher said, I love him. Yeah. He's I think he said he's a feminist, and I was like,
yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah.
I like you. But yeah, they fought for gender pay gap and stuff. But I think it's important to have unions for smaller places, because there was a bit of a gender pay gap in Morrison's and Aston and stuff like that. I actually researched a bit of this.
I'd love to know how this data is collected though.
What?
The gender pay gap.
How they what?
How they collect the data.
So this is the point on it was they went to the Supreme Court actually. I don't know if it kind of like it went. They won it, but then I think they got taken through again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, taking on Astra's a bit. They do have Astra and Morrison's, which is
Okay.
big ones to take on. But basically, the premise of the court case was that female jobs, which are like the retail staff, like people on the floor, which are the female jobs, they're like female characteristics. That's what it said. Like paid less than the jobs that are male characteristics, such as like working in the warehouse and stuff, and that's where they said the gender pay gap was, because they were paid more for like warehouse work, and they took it to the Supreme Court and they won it. And I think they get like back pay or maybe like compensation or something, and now they have the same wages. Yeah. But I think that's why unions are needed, because it matters there. Like in when you're getting paid little money, it does matter that you pay more. When I'm not trying to be nasty to the
is it not illegal already to pay people for the same work?
But they weren't doing the same work, were they? Because there was someone.
Well, this is what I mean.
But that was the valuing of male characteristics, because women characteristics are usually undervalued in our culture, like being a teacher or a nursery worker or a nurse or things like this.
But men generically go for the jobs that are more dangerous.
But that's male characteristics being
But there's nothing stopping.
valued.
There's nothing stopping. But if you're more likely to die on a job, so working on an oil rig.
Yes.
Should you not get paid more?
But is it that like male characteristics are seen as more valuable and therefore paid more? Is it because I think obviously.
I mean, generically, like the figure that's always cited is 70 cents to the dollar in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a generic thing of income.
Yeah.
But men more likely to have more, because women are more likely to work part time.
Yes.
Part-time workers don't make as much as full-time workers. Women more likely in our society, for whatever reason, are more likely to be at home raising children.
Yes, it's not the most accurate figure, is it? This 70%.
Do you know what I mean? It's already elite by law. You cannot pay someone.
But it is interesting, because I'd never looked at before because I just thought, people have to be paid the same wage. But it is interesting that someone working at a till in Asda is paid less than someone doing work in the warehouse.
Well, usually the warehouse is more manual labour and therefore more at risk of injury.
But why is that more valuable than talking to a customer, and why is that more valuable?
Well, if you put your back out, you're more at risk of you losing your job.
But are you more likely to get into an argument with someone at a till? I could
If you had an argument with someone at a till, you just get disciplinary, don't you? If you put your back out lifting a heavy box in the warehouse, you're out of weeks.
Yeah.
And you can't work in any other profession.
But
if you get sacked from Morrison's, you go to Tesco's.
But manual labour and stuff, they should have support and stuff if you get injured and stuff. But why is that manual labour valued more than?
Well, it's just the way their wages work. Is it not? It's a voluntary contract at the end of the day.
It's weird, because in my head, my first initial reaction is to say, it's of course, manual labour gets paid more. But now, when I think into it, I'm but why does that make sense? Why is it that male characteristics of a job that get paid more? I don't know, maybe it is a way of society, maybe it is.
Maybe it's I don't know, I think it's to do with danger. But I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a job that's not dangerous, that is paid. But it's interesting, don't know.
Well, if you look at some studies, especially when you see kids leaving universities, women are actually earning more than men.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the difference, especially in gender pay gaps, is between married women and everybody else.
Yeah.
So if you have a woman who's worked continuously for 30 years compared to a man for 30 years, most of the women are actually doing better.
Yeah.
But if you look at men against married women, well, if you look at married women who've probably mostly been raising kids for 20 years, maybe using part-time work or some sort of full-time work, but more likely to take holidays to look after children, in our society generally, well, those women are going to be earning less. Men are more likely to ask for promotions.
Yes. And to be fair though, I think men are more likely to have promotions, because I think it's assumed that the woman will take a break at some point to have kids. Which, in a sense, it's unfair, but it could be right.
From a company's standpoint.
From a business standpoint.
Like if you were running your business.
It is unfair, but it's a business standpoint, I guess.
Mm.
But it's hard though, because I think this is such a tangent from what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
I think it's hard because sometimes as a female, I think you think, if I want to progress high in this business, or I want to progress and I want to get the promotions and stuff, I've got to be like very like masculine and be like, and make sure everyone knows I don't want to have kids and I'm single and I'm dedicated to my job. And it's not like when men can be like the family man and be like get promotions and do well. When I think if I went into a business and was like, I'm gonna have kids and get married and be really family, I don't think I'd get promotions.
Well, I think definitely that the household roles should be shared between everybody.
100%. I think that's why I think like parental leave and like.
I think for males it should be a lot more.
I think it should be like similar. Like I will take off the same amount of time as the person I have my child.
I think it's better for the family unit.
100%.
If the man can bond, especially with his kid.
It is strange that like.
To me, that would also discourage single motherhood as well. Does it not put more strain on the marriage if the man's at work all day?
Yeah.
And then the woman's at home looking after the kid, they're both stressed.
Exactly.
And then they both come home. Well, if they've both been looking after the kids, they're sharing the responsibility.
Exactly. And like, I don't think it should be one person's role to look after a child, because it's a creation of two people. Like,
exactly, so they both should share it.
No, exactly, yeah. I think it is strange that for a lot of time women just looked after the child and the man. I know that's how it used to be back in the olden days.
Yeah.
But no, fair enough though. If it's a woman's choice or a man's choice to just be a stay-at-home parent, that's fair enough, but it shouldn't be forced or just like...
of course,
yeah. But I think they should make sure that men and women have the same. Because, do you get parental leave for adopted kids? You don't, do you?
Not for adopted kids, no.
What if you adopt them like straight away once they're born?
What's the point? I don't think so.
That is bad.
I don't know the full law on it, but I don't know.
Can you imagine? But I was thinking if you're two gay men, having gay.
I don't think any parental leave, or if so, very little.
It's not great, is it?
No.
I guess you can choose when to adopt.
Yeah, you can choose that. It's not like something that, I don't know. And obviously no one's going through the pain of labour or anything like that.
Yeah, true.
The stresses that comes with.
Yeah. Pregnancy seems a bit scary. Black Lives Matter.
Anyway, so Black Lives Matter. Is there anything else that you agree or disagree with what they say?
I was a little bit unsure about the protests in England. I wanted to go. My mum said I couldn't, so I didn't.
Right, coronavirus.
Yes, because of coronavirus. But no arrests in Birmingham, big of a city. But when the police didn't come, it was non-violent.
Right.
And people are saying, like in England, no arrests because the police weren't there, not violent. In other places, police turned up, it got violent. I think that would just indicate police equals violence. I did see things in London where they were like chasing a journalist, which I thought was. But just, do you think that because the police weren't there was no violence, or do you think if the police were there would have been no violence anyway?
But there are examples though where police weren't there and violence.
Yeah.
So you look at some of these illegal raves, people are stabbing each other.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And there weren't police there until they had to turn up. Especially, you see that one in Brixton?
No.
Yeah, they were jumping on cop cars and stuff. Because there was reports of stabbing, so the police turned up and then it turned violent.
That's so shocking behaviour.
But,
But I can't believe they've run the raves in Manchester. Did you hear they let a guy die?
Yeah, I heard something about that, yeah.
That is very bad. Yeah. I didn't like that people were going down to protect the war memorials.
You didn't like that?
I did not know.
Why?
Like that. Because Winston Churchill's statue has been destroyed at so many protests. And no one cares. But suddenly, people care because
I feel
of Black
like
Lives
people
Matter
should always care.
I think if everyone always cared, I'd be like, fair enough. Like,
I feel that it's difficult with people like Churchill because anyone in history is a complex figure.
Yes.
So the argument against Churchill is obviously, the many things he did in Africa and, in India and stuff like that.
Slaves and all that.
Didn't
he enslave? I remember seeing it on Twitter and bookmarking it because I was like, what the hell?
He did have concentration camps. I think it was in Kenya. Well, not
Yes,
concentration
yeah,
camps.
it was in
He had
Kenya,
camps in
yes.
Kenya where people were killed.
Are
And
they
the
not
Indian
concentration
family.
camps?
They weren't necessarily extermination camps, but they were like work camps kind of thing.
So not brilliant, to be honest.
No, not brilliant. No, but to me, that there are levels to like. So, for instance, for me, if it wasn't for him, like yes, he's done terrible, terrible things. That's inexcusable. But there is a difference between people like him and then Hitler and Stalin. So,
Yes.
if it wasn't for him, there would be a different statue where he is, and there would be swastikas everywhere, and there wouldn't be a racial minority
Yes.
to protest.
But maybe the statue should be in a museum.
Yeah,
I'm not saying get rid of it.
Yeah.
I do, obviously, the slave trade and whatever. But maybe put them in museums because history should be looked at and remembered and what not to repeat. But I don't know, there were like lads I knew who went down to protect the memorials. The people...
They're definitely the war memorials, especially because those war memorials aren't just for white soldiers.
No, the war memorials, I don't think there's any need to damage those and stuff, but they also do get damaged. But there are so many riots because of like football.
Someone burnt the flag on the cenotaph.
Yeah, and then, but like football hooligans have so many riots after football matches and things like that.
Oh yeah, no, they're not innocent.
Football hooligan white lads went down to shout, they went down to scream and get angry at someone, and I just thought it wasn't good enough. But so somewhere nearby where I live, there were, when the Black Lives Matter protests were in, so like a little town, there were like drunk white men protecting the church, outside the church to protect it. And it's like, no one cares about this. Like, no one's going to vandalise the church. And I think it's gutting that people did vandalise war memorials because it just takes away from it all.
I think that's one of the main reasons why it incited people to go down, because they thought that the police weren't doing their job. They weren't protecting those memorials.
I understand it's not good enough. Like, you should war memorials. That's not fair.
Yeah.
But I do think that and I think what's really good in it, I understand the looting and the rioting and stuff. I understand.
You understand it?
I understand because people were saying we're speaking to them in a language they understand. I don't think it was good enough. I don't think it's the right thing to do. But I think it's really annoying because it takes away from the whole message. Because people will focus on that instead of the protests.
Yeah, I think it just makes it worse, and I think you're just a thief and a chancer, to be honest. To me, nicking, especially when you start first in Minneapolis, I don't think nicking a 60-inch TV from Walmart is showing you man.
No, 100% I agree. I think you're going to hear an ice cream van.
Ice cream? No.
No, I think it's gone now.
Wow.
No, I agree.
I think there were definitely chances on both sides.
I just think, obviously, I just don't think it was a good idea because it just takes away from it. And it's annoying because people weren't that bothered about the Black Lives Matter movement, but suddenly they're like, do you know what, I'm going to go the whole way down to London to protect a war memorial. And actually they wanted to get drunk, have a day out with the lads and scream at
I don't think most of them were there to protect the memorials.
No.
There were definitely some who were ex-servicemen who were
And
there.
you know what, that's if I thought they were protecting the war memorial, I think I would have been like, that's actually sweet, that's nice.
Yeah.
But actually, I feel like it was just...
I think it was marred by idiots.
Yeah.
I think both sides are marred by idiots. To be honest, I think both sides have got idiots. We just take away from their central messages.
Which is annoying because it's like an important message, but I did have someone I knew went down to protect the war memorial, and I was like, what? Like, we live in Birmingham and you went the whole down to London. That's such a trek. During coronavirus.
Yeah.
And took all his beers with him. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're not good to protect the memorials there,
Yeah. The beers, what you can do with those, yeah? Dear.
I think one of my main criticisms of Black Lives Matter, the organisation, is that they're hypocrites, in my opinion. Like, they will shout and scream and kick their toys out of the pram for police violence, which, granted, you should do, but they say nothing on crime in their own communities.
I think it's a bit of a difficult when you say, I do understand black on black crime is bad. I think that black on black crime, obviously, terrible. gang violence, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a bit of a difficult one. Reminds me of like a little bit like Rotherham.
Right, okay.
You know, like,
How? Black on black crime paedophiles. There you go. Easy link. Right, okay, yeah. Right, go on.
have a link, I promise, have a link.
Right, okay, yeah.
The case of paedophiles in Rotherham, not funny.
I mean, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But the reason that didn't get talked about and stuff was because of race, and people don't see it as racist. And I feel like sometimes things like black on black crime isn't talked about because of nobody wants to see racist, which means it isn't talked about at all. But I don't know if it's that much of a problem. I think I saw statistics about black on black crime, and I think it's like not that bad.
Well, what are you more at risk of? Being killed by an officer or being killed by another? As a young black male?
Oh.
As a young black male, you're more at risk of being killed by another young black male than a police officer. I think there was only 1 or 2 deaths last year in police custody, and one of them was the London Bridge attacker. I think he was the only black guy who was killed in custody last year by the UK police.
Oh wow.
And he was the London Bridge attacker.
Which is?
Yeah, he's a terrorist, he deserves to die.
Yeah.
He just murdered people.
Yeah, not race. Yeah, but
like if you look at cities like, especially in the United States, you look at Chicago, you look at Detroit. Chicago has one of the highest murder rates in the world.
Yeah.
And like over the Father's Day weekend, 140 people were shot, including 5 kids.
Gee.
In Atlanta over this last weekend, an 8-year-old girl was shot dead.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about terrorism and that there are more people killed in Mexico from like drug cartels and stuff than like terrorism put together.
Yep.
Like, which is
gang violence is a huge problem, an absolutely huge problem.
But that's the thing though, like I do think gang violence and like crime I think gang violence needs a lot of looking at and a lot of help. But I think maybe sometimes talking about it when you're talking about Black Lives Matter just take away from it.
I think purely the statement of Black Lives Matter is to me I think they're selective with it. Again, they don't talk about the many thousands of black men who are killed every year by other black men. But it's only when it's shot by a white cop, then that's when it matters.
I do think that that it all needs working on, and I do think maybe.
I think if I would support Black Lives Matter more if they came out and were more proactive and protested against gang violence as well.
Yes.
If they said, look, there is a problem with the police, but there's also a problem here, which we need to look at, then I would go, right, okay, I'm with you now.
I feel like maybe it's like one. It's like I think Black Lives Matter is against like
police brutality.
Yeah, against from mostly white people. But I do agree that is a problem. But I think it doesn't come under the Black Lives Matter movement, and maybe it should come under it because it is a problem.
Because to me, that's part of their slogan. Black Lives Matter. Do those black lives murdered by other black gang members? Do they matter the same as a black guy murdered by a white cop?
Yeah, that is a good point. To be fair,
I mean,
you are like
all those lives matter. Neither of those lives who were killed were right. In most of those situations. But to me, if you said, look, all these lives matter.
The only thing is, I get worried about talking about gang violence and stuff like that to do with Black Lives Matter because I don't want to take away from racism of it and don't want to trivialise it and be like, actually, you have other problems. Because someone said to me, a boy said to me that he was like, I think we've got worse problems, and it's like, you can say that about everything though. You can say, we're not going to treat cancer because we've got worse problems. It's I don't think it's a good enough
If you look at all the problems, I think then people can start to get behind it. I think the problem that Black Lives Matter have is they broaden their message too much. It's not just about police brutality anymore.
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, look, the founders are Marxists. They're open Marxists. They've said it on interviews. One of the founders has met, Venezuelan dictator Maduro. There was a picture of her with him from 3 years ago where she praises him. She says, I can't believe what's happening in Venezuela. It's great. This is under Maduro. This is after Chavez has died. I believe that those at the top of Black Lives Matter are Marxists and use BLM
as a political stance.
Yeah, I don't think they actually care about Black lives. Those at the very top.
To be fair, people were saying it was a bit of a political stunt, but I do think it needs to be. I think the protest against police brutality needs to happen to show police that they can't get away with what they want to get away with, and enough. Realistically, like the Conservative Party, when society changes, policies change with them. Usually, Obama said there's video evidence of Obama saying he doesn't believe in LGBTQ.
Yeah, he wasn't pro-gay. Neither was Hillary Clinton. She
No,
wasn't
she was-
pro-gay marriage till
She was
2015.
very not. She was like anti it. And
Joe
then,
Biden was the exact same.
yeah, but then as soon as like society changes, suddenly they're like, oh,
Yeah,
actually no,
they
we would.
change. Yeah.
So like now society and the protests are changing stuff. Suddenly they're like, Black lives do matter. Like and like Keir Starmer did the whole kneeling thing.
Yeah, the kneeling thing, I don't think you should have to kneel. If you don't
It was a
kneel.
little bit performative.
Yeah. To me, if you want to kneel, fine. But if you don't want to kneel, don't do it. You shouldn't be forced into kneeling.
It's nice to like show support, but are you just performing? Are you just we want real change? No, just
I support the slogan, Black Lives Matter, but I don't support the organisation as it stands as it is. So I won't kneel. If I was asked to kneel, I won't kneel.
I don't know. I think I'd like kneel in support, but I don't want to trivialise it as a white 19-year-old. I don't want to be like.
Well, so I don't know if you saw where 2 people were killed at Black Lives Matter protest by someone getting hit by a car.
Oh right.
You see?
Was this the police car one?
No, it was. I can't remember which state it was.
People coming and shooting and stuff, aren't they?
Well, that one in Atlanta where an 8-year-old girl got shot. That was gang violence. They were shooting at each other and a stray bullet. She was sat in the car with mum and a stray bullet shot her in the head, killed her. Yeah, but
That's horrific.
because the video of the father of the kid saying, "You said Black lives don't matter. You said Black lives matter, and you just killed one of your own." He said, "You don't care." Anyway, straying away from the point. What was I saying? I forgot now. Fuck.
You were saying about. What was I saying? Listen.
Fuck, I forgot now.
You were saying that you agree with Black Lives Matter, but.
Oh yeah, the statement. I agree with the statement, but not the like the organisation as it stands. I think they're more of an attack now on Western civilization and trying to erase history. Like, I don't agree with statues being yanked down. I think again.
I think it was more of a like a performative stance. I like the idea of like showing support to our to the black people in England, like to know to show them that like we're listening, we want to be anti-racist, we want to back them. I do think the statue should be in a museum, just like a lot of like Nazi things and like Holocaust things like in museums, so we can learn from it.
To me, that's why Auschwitz would never be pulled down. It's a reminder of the actual limits of human cruelty.
Exactly, but it should never be like. It should never be up as like something.
Oh, it shouldn't be celebrated.
No.
It shouldn't be celebrated. People should be able to learn about it.
Yes.
But to me, it's like it's the same thing. Like the Confederate statues, especially in America, they should be put in a museum.
It's very strange that people have Confederate flags.
It's very strange with the Confederate thing. I don't think many of these people, especially in the South, are vehement racists. I think it's a lack of education.
It is the videos that people do when they're talking to Trump supporters. So ignorant, and it genuinely seems like they don't have a clue what's going on. Like there was that one woman. She got asked. The woman basically was saying, she's like, "Oh, I don't think women should be in power because they're too emotional."
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, a woman could start a war like this if she's in a bad mood." And the man went, "Haven't all wars been started by men?" And she was like, obviously didn't know how to answer that. But it's like, it just seems like they've got no backing, which makes everyone just think Trump supporters dumb.
I think it's a lack of education in these communities. So the Confederate flag you see, right, it's not actually a Confederate flag. I think it's a Georgia battle flag. But it's incorporated into a few state flags. So the thing with the Confederacy is that these people that you ask about the Confederate flag, they say it's part of my heritage and the Civil War was part of states' rights and it wasn't to do with slavery, and that, stuff like that. That's their argument that they put forward. It's a bit retarded. If I've read the Confederate Constitution, like page to page.
Did you?
Yeah, I've read the whole thing. Yeah, most of it is like the actual American Constitution.
You're a fun guy, you are really.
Yeah, I don't get out much. So, but there's a line in it which states that it is the job of the Confederate federal government to protect the institution of slavery as it stands today, when written then, and it's their job to protect it. So it was about slavery. It's specifically within the Confederate their constitution is about slavery.
Yes.
And the thing about states' rights is just retarded. I mean, there were states in the South that suffered from tariffs put on by northern states. But during the end of the Civil War and the Confederacy, some of the Confederate states were complaining to the Confederate government that some of their enlisting laws, to get soldiers, were unconstitutional and that they violated their states' rights.
Yeah.
So these states that were fighting for states' rights were violating their own states' rights.
That's the thing, they don't know what they're fighting for. I feel like they just put it up as a bit of a racist
They say it's their family, it's their heritage. It's like, well, yes, but German heritage is Nazism. Doesn't mean it should be banned. Shoved away in the corner and never seen. Put it in a museum and say, look, this is what this flag is. This is what it meant to these people.
Yeah, but if your heritage was murderers, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, celebrate it.
Murder flag.
Yeah, I think it's a lack of education. These people
Yes.
in the South are taught that, oh no, it wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights.
Do you think sometimes they use the flag to just like hide behind their racism and stuff, and like
Possibly.
I feel like a lot of it is they think it's a racist flag, so they're like, yeah, but it's actually, I feel like a lot of them are very clueless.
Again, I think it's just lack of education.
Which is, but then again though, is it their own fault? Kind of, yes, but then also it's just...
I think it's just a generational thing.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a product of post-Jim Crow era of people who were in power, who were racist, trying to shift the narrative to try and keep people racist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, America scares me with their racism. Do you know, I saw a TikTok, I don't see any TikTok, but about which like places not to stop at in Texas. I stuttered that. Places not to stop in Texas.
Tongue twister. Yeah.
If you're black, because they were like, you actually might get killed.
Jesus.
Yeah, which isn't something I couldn't even imagine. Scary, man. It's a scary place, America.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Well, some places, not all places.
It's scary though. Imagine being in school and being scared to get shot.
No.
I mean, I don't have that, but I remember watching a video and it's like if you're American, you should, in whatever room you're in, you should prepare an exit, like in case you get shot. What?
A lot of these school shootings, though, to me, are down to people not doing their jobs properly. So, if you look at, remember when that kid massacred 17 kids on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
So that kid had 43 police visits to his house, 2 FBI tip-offs. He blew away a chicken with a handgun and he used to kill frogs in his backyard. This kid should not have had weapons or access to weapons.
These are gun laws.
Well, it was a failure of people not to do their jobs.
Yeah.
This kid legally should have not had a weapon.
Yeah.
It was a failure of people not to do their jobs. The Columbine massacre, for instance, those kids were not allowed to have weapons. The weapons for them were bought legally and they're given to them by friends. So a lot of these things, and as well during that massacre on Valentine's Day, the police officers there didn't go into the school. They sat outside behind their police vehicles while this kid was monsters murdering kids. They sat outside. It took for another police department from another area to get there and say, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you not going in and stopping him?"
And there was that one because they were talking about arming teachers, and then someone.
I don't think it should have. I think it should be security at schools.
But there was security. There was a security at school, a security guard, and then someone started shooting at the school when he ran. Obviously, if someone was shooting at the school, I think most people would run.
Most people would run, but these people have got to realise it's their job to go.
Yeah.
To me, you need to have rigorous hiring practices to make sure these people do it and do what they're supposed to do.
But it's just, I feel like it shouldn't have to come to that.
No, but
it does.
I think it's more of a problem with mental health in the United States. I think shooters are glorified by the media.
Yeah.
These people want fame. Ever since Columbine, I know the names. Dylan Klebold, Derek Harris.
A lot of the times they like follow like movies and stuff like that. It's very.
Well, I just think they want the fame, and to me, the media gives it them. They publish the name, they publish the face. They're famous.
Yeah.
So, I think if people start publishing their names, and they're also copycat attacks.
Yeah.
If you see one school shooting, I can guarantee within 2 weeks there'll be another one because it's copycat attack.
I haven't heard about many in America in a while.
Again, probably because there hasn't been one. Like, it's more copycat attacks.
Yeah, but I remember hearing a statistic, and my dad told me this, I think it was a few years ago, there were more mass shootings, and mass shootings is killing more than 4 people.
Yeah.
Was it 3, 4?
4.
There were more mass shootings in America in a year than there were days.
You can just look at the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago has not had like a day where someone's not been shot in years. Sometimes in years. You go years without a day where someone's not been shot.
And the thing is though, we do have guns in England and you actually forget about it, like...
I think the thing is in America, like, people have many misconceptions. You can't go into a store and buy an automatic weapon. You can't. So, do you know the difference between a semi-automatic weapon and an automatic weapon?
No idea.
So an automatic weapon, you pull the trigger, an infinite number of bullets comes out until the magazine is empty. So you'll hear a lot whenever there's a shooting, you'll hear the word semi-automatic. Right?
Yes.
It's a semi-automatic assault rifle.
Yeah.
All semi-automatic means is one trigger pull, one bullet.
Yeah.
So a rifle, a semi-automatic assault rifle, has the same fire rate, the same rate that you can shoot the gun as a pistol.
But that's the thing, I saw an advert and it was like, when the laws were created around this, the guns were like, you put a bullet in, you shoot it, you put it down, it takes a lot of work, and it takes about 5 minutes to load the gun.
There were like fast, rapid fire weapons at the time.
But not as easy as like...
But I mean, the worst school shooting in US history, if you knew tech, was committed with handguns. I mean, I think it's between 3 and 9% of mass murderings, or even gun deaths in the United States are by rifles. Most of them are.
So scary. But I think it's weird though, because in America, like, people aren't really scared of white males, when they are.
Everyone has the propensity to commit violence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you think they need do you think they need more mental health facilities in the US then?
It's the person that pulls the gun, not the gun itself.
But if they didn't get a gun...
But I'd rather not disarm the populace, to be honest. I think a populace needs to be...
I think, like, in the UK, like, if someone is dodgy, they're going to get a knife and stab some people. Which is... It's better to stab a few people than shoot 60, isn't it?
But, you're still stabbing people. Still. I think...
Not great, either way.
Again, I guess... Okay, so how many deaths do you think there are in the United States by gun violence? Or just by guns?
Millions?
Millions. Let's say in a year.
In a year?
In a year, how many deaths do you think there are? By guns?
By guns?
Yeah,
I'd
by
say...
firearms.
1,000.
About 30,000.
30,000?
30,000 gun deaths, roughly, between 30 and 35,000 in a normal year. 30 to 35,000 gun deaths. So, a majority of
30,000?
A majority of those are suicides, right? So if you ban, these people are still going to commit suicide, whether you give them a gun or not. These people are still going to commit suicide. They'll do it by gun, they'll do it by whatever. Stricter gun laws are not going to stop these people killing themselves. So if you take away suicides, it goes down to about 11,000, between 11 and 15.
Yes.
I think it's 80% of shootings are mostly due to drug violence and gang violence. Most shootings are down with gang violence.
Yeah.
So, how many defensive uses of firearms do you think there are in a year in the United States? So, where people brandish a weapon in self-defense?
1,000?
So, the CDC did research under the Obama administration. He tried to stop them doing it, but they did it. They estimated that between 500,000 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms a year in the United States. So that could be a woman who is at the threat of getting raped, having a pistol in her handgun.
This is
and
the
it's
thing,
the
though.
equaliser.
The thing is, I do think things like that is good, and I do think, like, if someone was attacking my house with a gun, I'd want to have something to protect myself with too. But I feel like when you don't have guns to begin with, which is hard though because America has the guns to begin with. So
there are 300 million guns in the United
and
States.
realistically, if you ask people to give their guns back and start it, no one's going to agree with that.
To me, it's also a violation of the Constitution. It's in the right to bear arms. And to me, if you start stripping away the Constitution, what else do you strip away? You strip away freedom of speech, freedom of assembly.
Love your freedom of speech. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think populations can be armed. I mean, one of the reasons the Japanese were asked after the Second World War why they didn't invade the United States after Pearl Harbor. The reason is the Japanese said, well, there would have been a gun behind every blade of grass. They knew that even if they defeated the US military, the US populace is armed.
To be fair.
So like most mass shootings, right? So think about it, and it's going to sound weird. If you're a mass murderer, right, you're going to go out and shoot people. Where are you going to go? Where's the best place for you to go?
Somewhere busy.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere where no one's going to have guns in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with gun-free zones.
Like schools.
Yeah. Where there are people who aren't armed, so you have malls and stuff where there are gun-free zones. Well, if you're a mass murderer, you're going to go where someone's not going to shoot you back.
But do you think though, like, that is like... But they wouldn't encounter this problem if there were no guns to begin with. Like in the UK, we are safer because we don't have guns.
But we get knifed instead.
But a man could knife you, and your mates would have time to run. If a man was going to shoot, he'd shoot you all.
Yeah. But I feel like you can't get rid of guns, and now they are part of...
America, yes.
You can't get rid of them.
I don't know how you would get rid of them.
People are always... There are bad people in this world. There are always going to be bad people who's going to find ways around laws.
And I'd rather them have a knife than a gun.
Yeah, I would rather have someone else have a gun as well to shoot back at them. Because
the thing is, it means, like, as you said, gun-free zones, like, kids are going to be left... Kids are going to be the ones to take the brunt of it, because schools can't be gun-free zones. Schools can't be...
Gun-free zones. Because, again, if you're a mass...
No, schools can't have... Like, kids can't have guns.
Oh
so
no, obviously,
like,
kids shouldn't have guns, but they should be...
But I don't think teachers should be armed.
I think you should have security guards.
But it's sad that it's come to that, like, it shouldn't have to come to that. And it's sad that, like, they have to make all these technology in case of school shooters, and it's like, take away the guns. And, like, it was horrible, though.
I mean, America doesn't have the worst gun deaths in the world, it's like 25th.
Yeah, but it is still shocking. But it was really bad that businesses were profiting, making, like, those bulletproof backpacks. And I'm like,
yeah.
That's insane. I feel like we're safe in the UK because of not having guns. Because I feel like if someone went to, like, do something bad to me, I feel like... The thing is, I was saying a rape alarm, but not many people carry rape alarms, do they?
Well, that's one of the reasons why many US states women carry guns. Well, not certain massive rifles, but they carry pistols in their handbags. Because it's an equaliser. Again, if there's 500 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms...
I think though, it sounds like I wouldn't trust a lot of people with a gun. I would not sleep at night if everyone had a gun.
There are background checks, right? If you go to a federally licensed gun store, you have to have your background check. If you are a violent felon, you cannot get a gun. You know? Yeah,
I feel like they can get them illegally pretty easily.
Well, again though, that's the same argument if you ban guns. If you ban guns, people who want to do bad things illegally...
But it's still harder. And making it harder, it's better.
Yeah. But I mean, even in Australia, well, look at the gun buybacks. The deaths per year are kind of very similar. They don't really change. The Port, I can't remember what it's called, massacre, was kind of an odd occurrence. To me, I think there's a massive mental health problem in the United States due to the overprescription of drugs.
Yeah.
And I think that's messed kids up. I think many kids who are seen as either the troublesome, they automatically think, oh, you're on the spectrum, I'll give him some pills. And I think it's...
Do you think that's the problem with the healthcare system though?
Possibly, or I think it's to do with federally run schools, because it's easier for them to drug kids out and make them boring nothingness.
Yeah.
To never create a problem, but mentally it fucks them up. Like we were saying before, your frontal lobe doesn't really evolve till you're like 24, 25. If you're giving, like sometimes we give like 10-year-old kids pills, it's like he's just a happy kid, he's just a fidgety kid, he's not autistic or anything like that. They just pop them full of pills.
Yeah.
I think that creates there's an opioid crisis in the United States.
Yeah.
People are topping themselves all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's a mental health issue.
There's a lot to solve in America.
I mean, there are gun laws which, I'm in favour of certain gun laws. So like, I think there was something called Project Exile, which I can't remember exactly which city it was in. But basically it was really harsh sentences for those who were caught illegally carrying firearms.
Okay.
So like your first offence was like 5 years, your second one was like 20.
Oh my gosh.
Firearms.
Wow, yeah.
The problem was, the reason the thing got scrapped is because Democratic lawmakers said that it unfairly targeted those of blacks and Hispanic communities.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why it was scrapped. I think there are certain gun laws which can be passed, like against bump stocks, because all that does is turn a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic. But you don't hear about. So there was a bloke who massacred 22 people in a church. Right, I think he was in Texas.
You know what Dylan or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was discharged from the Navy or something for beating his wife, and then he went on a shooting spree and he.
Is this the black church?
No, he was a white guy and he went in and he massacred 22 people in a church. So when he sped off, there was actually an NRA, so the National Rifle Association.
Yeah.
He was an NRA trained instructor and he was carrying his rifle. He actually killed him. He stopped him from going somewhere else and killing people. But again, you don't hear about the people who stopped the bad guys. All you hear is about what the bad guys
But then
did.
again, though, like he wouldn't have. He wouldn't if he didn't have a gun in the first place.
Well, he shouldn't have had it. He was a violent felon. But
Yeah.
how he got hold of that gun, I don't know. But again, I think it's people just not doing the jobs.
But I just think if there weren't guns to begin with. But that's not going to happen, is it? Because it's too late now, isn't it?
I think populaces need to be armed though, for fear of government reprisal. I think that you look at the people in Hong Kong. People say it can't happen in today's society. Look at what's happening in Hong Kong. They're having their rights stripped away.
Yeah.
At an exorbitant rate. There are already people being arrested.
It's very scary. It's scary how quickly it changes.
Well, I think if you go back 2 years, Hong Kong's one of the free cities on earth.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't go there. I really wouldn't go.
No. It is scary, like it really is. And it's difficult because like even like North Korea, like what can anyone do about it?
You have to pressure the Chinese to cut off trade because 80% of North Korea's trade is with China. Illegally, mind, but you have to basically tell Xi Jinping to stop it. Basically, just to.
But who's going to say that to China? No one.
It's the same thing with Hong Kong. We can tell. I mean, obviously, I know we are doing stuff allowing Hong Kong residents to claim asylum. I think that's brilliant. We should, if they want to come, fine.
Yeah.
Because those people are being persecuted. But it's like, I don't know. We're not standing up, to be honest, as much as I believe we could do to China.
Yeah.
I think the whole world needs to, not just for this, but for COVID and everything else they do.
Yeah.
I think the China needs to be stood. I mean, for instance, do you know about the Uyghur Muslims in China?
The concentration camps and everything.
In the Xinjiang region.
I've seen like underground videos of it, and it's very confusing because a lot of the facts and stuff are like.
Well, do you know how many of them there are?
Isn't there like millions?
1.5 million at least in these camps, or political re-education camps, and people have died in these camps.
And they're all wearing like the same outfit, and they're all like sitting blindfolded.
Where have you seen this before? That's Nazi Germany.
But no one's doing anything. What makes me so sad is that imagine if that was you and just know that the rest of the world is.
Well, yeah, to me,
doesn't
it is a modern day Holocaust. These people are literally being persecuted because of their race.
But no one cares.
No government across the world.
Have you seen any petitions about it? Have you seen anyone do anything about it?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No one talks about it. I've seen the videos and I always bookmark them or like save them to look at them.
Yeah.
But there's no information about it.
Well, it's not just them. The Chinese do it too. So if you look at places like Nepal, for instance, you know where what's his name? The Dalai Lama was from.
Yeah.
So during the 1950s and late 60s, under Chairman Mao, they massacred many Nepalese dissidents.
But they do that. Most places are guilty.
Yeah. I mean, the Chinese know thing to massacres. They massacred 3,000 protesters.
I mean, what's happening in Yemen at the moment?
We shouldn't even have any involvement. The problem we have is we finance the Saudis with weapons and money. We should have nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with us.
I think we need to help.
I think we need to just stop funding the Saudis. But the problem is oil.
It's never going to happen. The more you research into it, the more you realise how you look at Saudi Arabia or wherever and you go terrible, so corrupt. And actually, the reason they're
able to do what they do
is because because of us. Like it's literally down to us, and it's so funny because in the Western world we do so much of the like, wow, look how bad they are, like China, that's so bad, or whoever, and we're there like doing war crimes ourselves. But because politicians hide it and the news outlets hide it. We carry on thinking, oh, we're so innocent. It's so bad. But we can ignore it. It's like blissful ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not looking at it. Well, if I don't look at it, it's not there. I don't have to worry about it.
And which is what everyone does. It's fully.
Which is to me the problem with Hong Kong. We've stood and we knew this was coming. Like the Chinese were already going to pass the law. We knew it. And we did nothing.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing is though, why would the government, why would anyone do anything when society doesn't say anything? They don't need to do it to get votes.
No.
They don't need to do it. It causes them more stress. So why would they?
You'd hope they do it for moral reasons. And,
Morals, politicians.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. I don't think we've got anything less to talk about, have we really?
I don't think so. I feel like we've talked for a while.
Oh, we've done how many hours? Like, probably 6 hours overall over 2 podcasts. Jesus Christ.
I mean, we can talk.
Well, I usually do a quiz at the end of this one.
A quiz?
Yeah, a quiz. I don't know, you can have like a free beer or something, I don't know. At the end of it.
A quiz?
Yeah, I usually do a quiz at the end of it.
What's the quiz? Go on,
You can just do like 10 questions. I don't know, you get like a free beer or something, I don't know. At the end of it.
What do you mean?
You can just pick a subject or something. I'll just give you like 10 questions on it. If you get like half of them right.
I'm scared. I don't want to do a quiz.
If you don't want to do a quiz, you don't have to do a quiz.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
There's not enough. Usually we have 3 people, so you're alright.
Okay, I got out of it. Okay, so
I'll give you an out this time.
Yeah.
Are there any more topics that are burning on your mind?
I feel like we've discussed everything.
More or less. Yeah. Every single subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. But anyway, guys, I think we'll call that a day. So I will link down to the other video in the description. Anyway, so do go check that out. Drop it a like and subscribe. Thanks very much, and we'll see you later.